Hi, I'm Gwen Martone-Mazza, and it is my pleasure to invite you to yet another episode of The Art of Transitions. Today, we are again having the opportunity to meet with Dr. Gregory Kraft from Kraft Chiropractic and Associates. It is a holistic and a health organization here in the Rochester area. He is going to talk with us today about chiropractic and the model of health and wellness. Stay tuned, we'll be right back. Welcome back to The Art of Transitions. My name is Gwen Martone-Mazza, and it is my pleasure to be having as our guest again. We've had him before, and we're going to entertain him, and he's going to entertain us a little bit today about the art of chiropractic work and the model of health. Greg, welcome.
Thank you. It's nice to be here.
Nice to have you again, and thank you again for being willing to share information with our area community and helping them understand about chiropractic work and that there's more to it than simply adjusting the spine.
Yeah, absolutely.
So today I'm actually inviting you to speak to chiropractic model of health. And one of the things I know that you have worked on through this time is actually creating a model so that your work in working with the patients is more effective and more high functioning. So wherever you'd like to start, and actually why don't we start with showing them a picture of this great model you created.
Okay.
So the
Sounds
viewing
good.
audience is going to get a chance to see that. And while they're seeing that, introduce us to health and wellness and why you went about creating a model to work with.
Well, I noticed that the title of the show is The Art of Transition.
Yes.
And that really struck me because I think we're all aware that healthcare in general in this country is in a huge state of transition in a whole host of different ways. But I think the biggest transition is transitioning from a doctor-driven top-down to a patient-driven, patient-centric model of how can I stay well and not need all of this expensive, traumatic health care. And that's really been the focus of chiropractic care since it began in the late 1800s. Chiropractic has always been about how do we help people adapt to or handle the three key stresses of life, the physical stresses of life, like injuries and work and that, the emotional and energetic stresses of just the emotional difficulties of life and the hard times and things like that, and the what we call the biochemical stresses, which basically the toxicities and the poisons in our environment and the lack of nutrition that we're getting now. In other words, how do we stay nourished? There's a model out there that is a part of what I talk about. If you want to stay healthy, you have to eat well, move well, and think well.
I like that. Those are three nice, simple points.
Hit those three real bullet points. I think modeling in pretty much any field is important because I think it helps people understand what you're trying to communicate. And I think that especially in a medical field and in chiropractic being even a lesser known aspect of the medical and healthcare field, the languaging and the vocabulary is something that people don't understand. I think that, I can talk about, you have a vertebral subluxation of L4 affecting the zygoapophyseal joint. And,
okay.
That really probably didn't mean that much to you, even though it triggers a whole host of really boring class memories for me, right?
Okay.
So, and what I basically said is that in your lower back, you have a vertebrae that's a little out of aligned and it's not moving well, and that's causing pain. So that's what I said in a few short words.
In those words. Could you do us just a slight favor? Because I'm very aware that some of our viewing audience may not have had the opportunity to watch a previous show we had done together about the history of chiropractic work. Could you give them a real short synopsis of what chiropractic art and medicine is so they understand as we get ready to show them a wellness model?
Chiropractic is really the art and science of adjusting the spine and other joints, not just the spine, to correct changes or problems of position and movement in that spine to relieve the pain at that area and improve nerve function out from that area. It's really that simple. and it's been around for over 100 years as a profession. As a field, it's really physical medicine. It's been around since as long as people have had spines and hands. They've been doing physical massage and adjusting, etc. And so it's a tremendous field. I love what I do. I've been doing it almost 30 years, and I grew up in it. And I wouldn't want to be doing anything else.
That's very cool. It's a great way to live when you're in a profession, you're in a vocation that absolutely resonates with everything that you are.
Yeah. Well, I spend all day, every day helping people feel good.
Isn't that neat?
And that's really what my model is. They've seen the picture. I use a model of a bridge as one of my models. I think the most important part of that bridge, most important part of any bridge, no matter what kind of bridge you have, are the beginning and the end.
So if we go back and take a peek at it, if we go back to look at that bridge and we talk about the development of this model for you, you said it was the beginning and the end. So we see our model here, we see the space in between. And tell us a little bit about that beginning and the end, and then we're going to touch the cables and what that means. If I come to you as a patient, I need you to assist me. I'm having some issues, some back problems, some pain. Walk me across this bridge and tell me what your dream for me is as your patient and what choices I have along the way.
Right. Okay. So my dream for you as a patient is to help you realistically determine where you are now.
Okay.
And where you want to be.
Okay.
Initially, that's usually my back really hurts and I haven't been able to swing a golf club well. Okay.
Well, I could. My back didn't hurt. I didn't swing so well. Yeah. But go ahead. It's going to help me.
And where you want to get to is I want to feel good and I want to do X, whatever that is that's hindering you. And so in our office or in a chiropractic office, we really spend a lot of time talking with the patient about what's going on in your life, what's hindered in your life, and what you would like to see improved.
And I do want my golf game improved, so that was a great choice.
Yeah, and if I had a magic button for improving golf games, I'd be busier than I could imagine.
Absolutely.
So the bridge is how we get there.
Okay.
And a bridge can be as simple as a little board across two sticks, or it can be the Golden Gate Bridge, which is kind of my model. And what the bridge does is, it's the plank or it's the path to get us from where we are to where we want to go, going over all the turbulence and turmoil and stress of life. And so
that's a very good image. So all the waters and that rushing waters is what's underneath.
It's what interferes with us getting to where we want to go.
Excellent visual.
Because if it didn't interfere, you could just walk across.
Correct.
So if you don't have much stress in your life, you don't even need a bridge. You just walk through the stream. Most people need bridges. And the starting point of the bridge, the deck of the bridge, is our structure. If we're physically unable to perform at a high level, it's really hard to accomplish what we want to accomplish. So the decking of the bridge is the chiropractic adjustment, it's advising with exercise, it's helping people figure out how to do things more efficiently or more ergonomically. It needs to be strong, it needs to be flexible. I mean, when a car goes over a bridge, that bridge actually moves. It may only move a very little bit, but it has to move, otherwise it's going to break apart in big storms or under big loads. So that's the base, if you will, of the bridge.
So chiropractic, exercise, and the third piece you said, I lost, I'm sorry. We'll get back to, we'll find it again.
We'll come back to that.
We'll find it again. We'll just look at this bridge for the
ergonomics.
Ergonomics,
Chiropractic itself and exercise and the teaching of that is that's the base of the bridge. And then for a suspension bridge, which is what the Golden Gate is that's the strongest type of bridge. It's the bridge you can go the furthest away. So so that's everything from the Golden Gate Bridge to those little bridges that you see in pictures of the Himalayas that doesn't look like it can get very far. They're suspended from cords. So in a big suspension bridge, you have two big structural pillars that control everything else. Those represent our nervous system and our endocrine system. Endocrine system's the hormonal system. So that's the nervous control. The nervous system controls every part of the body. every cell of the body, communicates everything from all the things that we're aware of to all the things that we're not aware of, like how fast does our heart beat. The endocrine system is the chemical control, the biochemical control. So that's, you know, the ovaries, the pituitary, the thyroid, the pancreas, etc. And that really is the key to vitality, energy levels, even personality. And well, because it's the biochemistry of the body, and you know, what's proven that really has been the psychology field over the years has really begun to recognize that the predominant determinant of of how we feel is biochemical. And
Absolutely.
so in a chiropractic office, that whole nervous system ties into chiropractic because the nervous system is housed in the spine, and when we adjust the spine, that frees up the nervous system to function more normally. And we typically approach the endocrine and biochemistry system through nutrition. So we spend a lot of time delving into how is a person eating, what things can they avoid, what things should they add in, are there some nutritional supplements that they should look at, etc.
Based on their individual needs.
Based on their individual needs and very specific to them and to where they want to go. Because
Across
you know
that
there's you know, pick up any magazine and you know, and there's a million and 2 million different diets, but how do you want to eat? What are you willing to either give up or add into your diet? And with that, we need to find out what's going to work for you. Because if it's the best diet in the world, it works for 99.9% of the people. If it doesn't work for you, it doesn't do you any good. Or if you're in a family situation where you can't do it or feel you can't do it for whatever reason, you know what? We have to find a different way to help you get across the bridge to where you want to be.
Excellent, excellent. As we keep looking at that bridge of health and wellness, and it was created for, when you and I have talked about it, really for it added clarity, not only for you to be able to share with your clients, your patients, where they want to be. We've talked about treating symptoms and feeling better, and then you've gone kind of in that middle of the bridge where you have health, and then you went to the other side of the bridge where you have wellness.
Yeah.
Can you elaborate a little bit?
I call that the health continuum. And you have everything from, you know, very sick and just about to die to vibrant and healthy and, you know, can take on the world and do everywhere.
Thriving.
Yeah, exactly. And most of us are somewhere in between. Most traditional medical care right now in our society is really good at and really focused on getting us from sick to not sick. But there's not a lot of attention on getting from not sick to well and to healthy. And so I liken, if you're not sick, it means you're passing. But it doesn't tell you whether you got an A+ or a C-. And in schools, people care about their grades in school, but you know, our life grade is our health grade is even more important. So our focus is to help people get from not sick up to healthy, or if they're already up to healthy and well and vibrant, to help keep them there in terms of that.
You think that's an attitudinal kind of shift that we're looking at now?
I think it's a hugely attitudinal shift.
And cultural shift.
It goes back to that transition that I talked about doctor-centric versus patient-centric.
Right.
And they both have to work together. It's not that we're eliminating, you know, a doctor without a patient or a patient without a doctor.
Right, because you're always going to need different services.
Yeah, exactly.
How you're going to need them may be different then.
Yeah,
and I really like the thought of moving from being sick to not sick.
Yeah.
Because that's really traditionally what we moved for.
Oh, absolutely.
And over the last number of years, I've seen our culture moving.
Our culture is moving way, way, way more to it. We are having,
wellness.
we do have an issue with a bit of a divide of the people that are moving that way more and the people that aren't focused or aren't aware of that. But that's that's kind of a separate issue, an educational issue, a focus issue. I don't know. I think we struggle a little bit with what I call whack-a-mole symptom.
Yes, please.
Which is, I mean, everybody knows whack-a-mole, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So I have a headache, you know, I have back pain, you know, I have this, I have that, I have this, you know, and never really getting anywhere. It's more, it's kind of more random. Whereas taking a look at the whole thing and trying to make it healthier and moving forward, I think is overall a better pattern and a more effective pattern in the long run.
I believe that I believe you're correct in your response about the education. I had shared and taught for one of our area colleges stress management for years, and really teaching this generation the health and wellness concepts of there does not have to be just sick and not sick any longer. We can actually have the norm be wellness.
Absolutely.
So we are in the really neat stage of evolution that we are defining what wellness means for us.
Yeah.
So that is, and when that becomes the norm, we will move more away, I believe, from sick.
I also think that we're in a transition that way of recognizing stress more, but we haven't gotten to the healthy part of that pendulum swing of effectively working with it. Because I really find it very interesting. Many people say that life today is much more stressful than our parents' generation. And then I look at it, and let's see, our parents' generation had World War I, they had a depression, they had World War II, they had Korea, they had, I mean, when you look at the major, I mean, truly worldwide stresses that generation went through, and they basically looked at it and said, oh, that's life. No, it's not stressful. We just go deal with the war and then come back. And we're recognizing, and I think they hid it. They repressed that stress. I think we're perceiving more stress because it tends to be maybe not as acute, but more persistent. And I think we're starting to learn how to get better stress handling mechanisms, whether it's learning that we can't do it on our own, that we need to go and get some help, whether it's professional help or family help or doing that.
Community support, all sorts of things.
Yeah, there's all sorts of things. And part of that is recognizing that where chiropractic fits into that, or chiropractic and wellness care, because we do a bunch of things, is that if we're physically more capable and if we're nourished and if we have better energy patterns, we can function better. We can handle that stress better. So we build stronger and better bridges and help to function better.
One of the things you and I have chatted about was the 7 pillars concept. Can you elaborate?
7 pillars is an interesting concept. I ran into that not too long ago. It's been used for other things as well, but in this context,
does it fit into your bridge? Is there room for that?
It's actually part of the bridge. It's part. It kind of fits in 2 ways. It fits into it's a model within the nutrition.
Okay.
And so it's a model of. Most people, when they think of nutrition, or particularly nutritional supplements, they think of C or D or this or that. And our approach is a little different. The 7 pillars approach is to look at systems.
Okay.
So we look at the endocrine system, we look at the sugar handling system, we look at inflammation, we look at infection, we look at digestion, we look at circulatory system. So we're not targeting a gland or a symptom. We're looking at how is the body working together in terms of that. And then it fits into the bridge model because, the thing that holds that decking up, besides the 2 foundations here, which you can only go so far with, is you have all these cables that are hanging down. And so those cables are everything in a person's life, or sometimes in our office or in other office, that help to support that bridge. So sometimes that can be whole food nutritional supplements. It can be digestive enzymes. It can be deep breathing or relaxation exercises. It can be meditation. It can be exercise. It can be obviously the chiropractic adjustment. The family life. It can, there's a lot of different things it can be, including these 7 pillars begin to hold that decking in place so that you have a foundation to live your life on.
So within your larger wellness model, health and wellness model, you have really moved from chiropractic services to chiropractic and wellness, health and wellness, which is what you've also said many of the area practitioners are doing.
Oh yeah, this is
blending into the hospitals. It's all becoming a theme of health and wellness. Where do you want to be, as you were saying, thriving, really shooting for those kind of goals.
I think it's happening across the board in all professions to one degree or another. I think that chiropractic in many ways is a driving profession because we've always been the bridge profession between traditional Western medicine and the more kind of holistic alternative medicines. Our education is actually more in the Western model.
Right.
We're doctorates. We have much the same education as a medical doctor. We don't have the residency programs that they have, and we focus on physical medicine as opposed to chemical medicine. That's the biggest differentiator.
And that's huge. I'm going to bring you back because I think that's the big piece. The chiropractic world really has focused, and their training was around the physical.
Yeah.
Where our physicians, they have mastered the chemical.
The chemical.
Right.
Exactly.
And so
it's just a different focus. So the things that we help tend to be the things that fall through the cracks of Western medicine, like back pain, headaches, migraines. They have chemicals to help relieve the pain, but they don't have tools to really help fix the problem. Whereas in physical medicine, we're really good at those things. But if you have a major, diabetic crisis, a tumor, a major life-threatening type of thing, we don't have the tools to get you through the crisis. We can help you function on that wellness model after. So it's not us or that. It's a concert. It's integrative, and that's happening more and more across all professions. But I really love the way that chiropractic is taking a lead in this.
Can you, do you think it's important for us as individuals, and I can't imagine you wouldn't say yes to this, now that I even asked this question, truly, how about helping us create our own models of moving us from not sick to not sick, to wellness, health, and thriving? How do we invite, and how do you want to invite your patients into broadening the relationship they have with you as a human and as a healing practitioner?
I think the number one way that I invite people in is I make every effort to be fully connected with them when they're in the office. And so I think that's the first and foremost bridge. I want no gap, if you will, between my patient and me. I'm there to serve them, and that's really my role. So yes, we spend a lot of time figuring out their health history and stuff because we need that information.
Those are mechanics.
But we really ultimately spend more time talking about their health future, and a lot of it is just asking questions, listening. We chiropractors spend more time with patients typically, and we spend a lot of time when you're laying down and we're working and adjusting the spine. That's all sorts of time where we can talk about, what's going on in your life. What are your goals, or what are your activities? What do you like to do? What can't you do that you would like to do? And it ranges everything from, in my office, everything from, the grandmother that wants to make it to her granddaughter's wedding. She just wants to be able to dance at the granddaughter's wedding. I've had that. To I've had patients that have participated in the Olympics. So
that's incredible.
It's a pretty, and to be honest, I don't see one as more important athletically than the other.
Yeah, dancing or the
Olympics. It's all the same. Yeah. It's just a question of where are you at and what do you want to do.
So their wellness bridge.
Yeah, it's about them.
So it's really about being of service to them and helping them get there. How does this work in your own life? How have you used your own wellness model to be healthier and well and keep pushing the envelope, so to speak?
Well, I can honestly say I haven't thought about that much.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's a great question, and that one will get used again.
Yeah.
Now, I think the things that I've done, I've really made an effort to watch my diet. I think if there's any two things that an individual can do on a consistent basis, it's get reasonable amounts of non-competitive exercise, so walking, moving, gardening, things like that, and eat in a whole food manner. Simple rule of thumb, the more time people touch a food, the worse it gets for you. So eating whole and natural foods, things that aren't processed a lot. I don't think you have to go to a vegetarian. I don't think you have to go extreme. Healthiest diet in the world is the Mediterranean diet, which means lots of vegetables, fair amount of fruits, modest amount of protein, and then scale back on the carbohydrates. And when you do eat carbohydrates, eat them in a whole form, not eat the grain, not what's made from the grain. So eat rice, not pasta, things along that line. So I think those are probably the two things that I've done that way.
That would be the most.
Yeah, and then the third is meditating or having quiet time, prayer, whatever term you want to put on it. Going back to the suspension bridge model. The thing that ultimately holds it all together is that big long cable that goes like this, and that is where is your head at? Where is your heart at? Positive mental attitude or spirituality. There's lots of different words. I think for me, the 4 key words that I try to use in my life are lead with your heart. If I lead with my heart emotionally, if I lead with my heart intellectually, if I lead with my heart physically, I will have good posture, I will be open, I will be receptive, and I will be caring. And
I'm going to bring you back to that again, because that's something you introduced me to a while ago, and that was leading with your heart in terms of just understanding spine-wise and connecting it right back into your very gift that you offer the world, which is the chiropractic healing, and that leading with your heart will always help your spine be firm. And I just found that fascinating when you shared that earlier, and I'm glad that you brought that back up again. We are at a place that we're almost getting ready to close yet another show together. What are the top 2 or 3 pieces of information around creating a health model for others? You've shared yours. What would you wish for all of your clients who come and walk in your door and into other chiropractic doors, other physicians' doors, that you would like them to know the most?
Yeah. I think one thing I would like, I think one thing, obviously from my point of view, I would encourage people to seek out a wellness-oriented chiropractor and talk with them.
Just to talk with
them.
them.
Even if you're not a patient, even if you don't go for the chiropractic aspect of it, I think a lot of people they don't understand chiropractic and they're a little afraid of it.
Yes.
And I would encourage just setting a time to talk. And I don't know any chiropractors that aren't willing to do that and to talk about how wellness can fit into your life. And then beyond that, I would say that whether it's chiropractic or other teams, I think one of the biggest thing is to not try to do it all on your own. I think that you need to develop a team that can communicate with each other, and that can help you with different aspects of your life. And then third, it goes back to my key words, lead with your heart. Because if you're open and receptive and giving, that washes out a lot of things. So.
Well, I want to thank you yet again. I want to thank our viewing audience for staying tuned in with us for this part of understanding a model of wellness from a chiropractic perspective, and just bringing it and integrating it into your own life. So thank you, Greg, for coming yet again. I look forward to many, many years of working together and being together. If you have questions or additional ideas or thoughts for the program and or even for Greg, please feel free to reach him through my email and website. You'll see that information right on your screen. And again, thank you. Thank you for taking the time to join us.